Welcome back to Hat Yai. It's been a couple of months since I did one of these. I think the last update was the end of January. So just going to take a quick look around, see what's open and what's still closed. And in one of my previous videos, this hotel, the Red Planet, was closed. And because of the for rent signs outside, it looks as if it was closed permanently, but it's not. It's reopened again. I've just been inside to check out the prices, and the standard rooms are $450 and superior rooms are $550, which are pretty good. The receptionist tells me they've got customers, but they're Thai customers. They're not tourists from Malaysia and Singapore. So apologies for saying before that it was closed permanently. It wasn't, it was just temporary, and it's now open again. The Lee Gardens Plaza area just down there is still very quiet. You can see a lack of people on the streets. There are no tourists. And my first errand of the day is to get the battery change in my wife's watch. There's a good little watch shop here near Lee Gardens Plaza if you're in Hat Yai and want to buy a watch. So I'll just get that done before we continue. The girl working in the watch shop told me that the border may reopen on 1st of April, which is a date I've heard from someone else. I've got a friend who works for the army division that controls the Thai southern border, and she also told me maybe the 1st of April. The trouble is that the last opening date, which I think was the 1st of March, got postponed because of another COVID outbreak, and it's possible that the same thing could happen again. So tentatively it could open quite soon, or there may be another delay. While I'm walking around, I'll just describe how COVID has been for me the last couple of years. And it may sound selfish, but initially it was really good for me. I really enjoyed it. Before COVID, my kids were at school, my wife was at work, I didn't see my family much. I didn't enjoy getting up before 6 AM to do the school run. Then I go home, start doing something, then I have to do another school run in the afternoon. It's very disruptive. And when they started studying online at home, I saw my family. I didn't have to get up early, didn't have to drive much. I don't particularly enjoy driving in Thailand. I save money on petrol. If I did go out, the traffic was a lot lighter and car parking spaces were easier to get. It was really good. Just recently, it hasn't been much fun. My wife's been working quite a lot, so I've been at home looking after the kids because they're old enough to look after themselves. It's been very restrictive. I haven't been able to do anything, which is one of the reasons why there's been so little content on this channel. And apart from that, it's just boring. You know, I'm not a great fan of going somewhere where there's loads of tourists everywhere, but because of the tourists, there are businesses that open for tourists, and these businesses are good for locals as well. You know, restaurants and shops, and a lot of those places have closed. So a lot of places that I used to enjoy eating at, I can't eat at anymore. And apart from that inconvenience, it's just a depressing air. You can see from these videos as you walk around, there's no one on the streets. The vendors who are there, they've got no customers, so they all look depressed. And this sort of depressive mood is contagious. After a while, it starts to get to you. So I'm really ready for it to end, as a lot of people are. But I'm not sure when that will be, because even now I'm hearing about more outbreaks of COVID. There's been more shutdowns in China. The UK is offering people more jabs. My wife told me this morning that her parents have both got COVID. So it just seems to go on and on and on, and there's no end in sight, and that just makes it even more depressing. So yeah, just to summarise, it was great for me for a year, maybe a bit longer, but now I've really had enough. I've just been having a little chat with these people. They've got a small tour operation shop and money exchange shop near Lee Gardens. And they also told me that the border may open tomorrow, but if it does, people coming from Malaysia have to do an ATK test at the border, then they have to stay at the border in a hotel for 1 day. If that test is okay, they can then go on to Hat Yai. Then they've got to test on day 5, and if that test is okay, they can continue staying in Hat Yai. And then when they go back to Malaysia, they have to do a check again to get into Malaysia. So, and she also told me that July is when people may not have to do any more ATK tests. They can just come as they did before. Anyway, things seem very up in the air at the moment and subject to lots of change. The Lee Gardens Plaza area is exactly the same as on my last few visits. So there used to be a shop here that was always open, always selling huge prawns. Down here there used to be a number of massage shops, and then Santi Suk Market up there, and Central Department Store, McDonald's. But still everything is closed, and that includes the 7-Eleven over there. You know, 7-Elevens in Thailand are famous for never closing, and this one's been closed for a very long time. My previous video is about Lee Gardens Plaza. I never actually came inside, so I'm going to do that today. So I've just had to go through like an airport scanning system. There was a big explosion here a few years ago, so they're nervous about some repercussions. And there's a COVID checkpoint as well for temperature. So in here, very quiet. The lifts up to the hotel and the restaurant and the massage shop, although I guess the massage shop is probably closed. Branch of Boots. Downstairs they used to sell mobile phones and electronic bits and toys, but it looks as if the escalator is closed off, so you can't actually go downstairs.
Where you go?
Huh?
Where you go?
ไม่ไปไหนครับเดินเที่ยว
อ๋อห้ามถ่ายนะครับในนี้
ห้ามถ่าย
ครับ
โอเค
ห้ามสแกนนะครับ
Okay, จับเพจกล้อง He just told me that I can't take videos in here, so I got to turn off my camera. Well, I did try to show you the inside of Lee Gardens Plaza, but unfortunately it wasn't very successful. Harm in Thai means don't do something. So harm ting kaya, do not throw rubbish. Harm cow, do not enter. Harm Thai, do not photograph. And I can't remember them restricting photography before. I think this is just because they're a bit embarrassed about how quiet it is in there. They don't want people to see. Anyway, it was a good idea. Now, just walking along, there are a few shops open, a few massage shops, all very quiet. What do you grab? My mi wela crop.
Oh, my wela.
โทษ
Okay.
วันนี้มีลูกค้าหรือยังครับ วันนี้มีลูกค้าหรือยัง
ยัง
ยังเลย
ยั
ค่ะ
ยัง
มีคนเลย
ใช่
เงียบมาก
พรุ่งนี้มี
ไม่
มี
มีคน
มีคนอื่นบอกว่าอาจารย์จะเปิดวันที่1 เมษายน
ถึงเมษา
Yeah, so อาจารย์จะมีลูกค้า
พรุ่งนี้
โอเค
นะสักชั่วโมงครับ
ก็โทรกลับไม่มีเวลาจริงๆโอเค
ไม่เป็นไรค่ะ
โอเคขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับ So it's a massage shop that's open, but no customers today. They were trying to get me in, but I haven't got time. Okay, I'm going to walk down to Kim Yong and I'll resume the video then. There seem to be a few more hotels open now. I can't remember last time whether this one was open or not. the Golden Crown. It's open now. Just wonder what the rate is. Oh. It's quite nice, isn't it? Sorry, crap. ห้องคืนละเท่าไหร่ครับ
990 บาทค่ะไม่ให้เล็กในที่บาทค่ะ
โอเคถูกกว่าก่อนโควิดไหมครับ
แต่ไม่มีแล้วค่ะ
ไม่มี so ก่อนโควิด
ตัวราคานี้ค่ะเต็มไซส์ก็คือก็ราคานี้ค่ะ
so ไม่มีลดราคา
ค่ะนี่เป็นราคาโปรโมชั่นลดแล้วค่ะลด 50% แล้ว
เอาลดแล้ว
ค่ะ
so
ลดราคา 1,200 บาท
1,200
ค่ะ
อันตอนนี้990ใช่ไหม
990มีอาหารเช้า2 คนค่ะ
โอเค
ค่ะ
ขอบคุณครับ That's a lot more expensive than the Red Planet, 990. Breakfast for 2 people. She told me that before COVID it was 1,200. So a bit cheaper, but not a great rate. You can certainly get much better rates in other hotels in Hat Yai at the moment. It's quite a nice hotel and quite well located. Let's give me a market over there. Yeah, things are definitely improving, but still a lot quieter than the pre-pandemic conditions in Hat Yai. This morning I had a comment on one of my videos about how I chose where to live in Thailand, and this was something that I was considering doing a separate video about. It's quite a good question, so I'll try and address it now. And none of this is scripted. I'm not very good at speaking ad lib, so I might stumble a bit, but I'll try and get my points across. So when I came to Thailand to live, I'd already been to Thailand several times as a tourist, and I knew that I didn't want to stay in a tourist resort, and there are several reasons for that. And the first is a sort of kind of Buddhist thing about attachment. And what I've seen with a lot of foreigners who live in Thailand is that when they first come to Thailand, it's for a vacation, and they have a great vacation. When they decide to come back to live in Thailand, they go back to the same place. And with attachment, you can get attached to people, places, things, or states of mind. If you have a really great vacation, it leaves you with a good feeling, and if you get attached to that state of mind, that might sort of encourage you to go back and live in the same place. But the problem with attachment is that nothing is permanent in life, which is another part of Buddhist thinking. So if you get attached to something that's not going to be there forever, that's going to cause you a problem. And there were other reasons for me not going to live in a tourist resort. When you're on vacation, you know, you do things and buy things, certain things that you don't buy and do in real life. So you can't make life a permanent vacation. It's just silly to think you can. It's like at Christmas sometimes you sort of see on TV these people who love Christmas and try to make every day like Christmas. You know, so every day they put decorations up, eat Christmas dinner. That's just to get really boring really quickly. So my plan on going to Thailand wasn't to make life into a permanent vacation. It was to live a normal life. The other problems with tourist resorts is that Thailand is a very inequitable country. There's rich people, there's a lot of poor people, and it's very difficult for poor people to make any money, honestly. And there are actually things put in place to maintain the status quo. I read a good book last year called Unequal Thailand, which I might review on this channel, which explains some of these things. So one of the only ways that poor Thai people can make money is to cheat and deceive other people, and that's very difficult to do for them with Thai people. But there are a lot of very gullible foreign tourists, so these people that will go to where there are lots of foreign tourists in the tourist results. So in these places you get a lot of Thais with bad characters, and I won't go and insist in any detail because we all know what happens, but because of what goes on in Thai tourist resorts, it also attracts a lot of foreigners with bad characters. So that's another reason why I never really wanted to live in a tourist resort. So once you discount all the tourist resorts, what do you have left? And the most obvious place is Bangkok, the capital, but it's known as what I think is called a primacy, where the biggest city in a country is much larger than the second biggest city. And I think Bangkok is about 40 times bigger than Thailand's second biggest city. It's absolutely huge. You've got everything there. You've got lots of things to do, lots of things to eat. The choice of food is amazing. You can eat anything you want, which you can't do elsewhere in Thailand. And there's some big advantages to being in Bangkok, but it's not somewhere that I really wanted to live permanently. You know, that's my personal feeling. And at the other end of the spectrum, you've got sort of the deepest, darkest rural areas, out in Isan. And again, whereas I'd like to visit those places occasionally, I wouldn't really want to be there permanently. It's just a bit too quiet and a bit too boring for me. I only need that quietness and solitude some of the time, not all of the time. So what really suits me in Thailand is the second tier cities. If I wasn't in Hat Yai, it'd be somewhere like Pitsanulok or Lopburi, somewhere sort of mid-size, not huge like Bangkok and not right out in the countryside. It's only Hat Yai because when I came to Hat Yai first in 2002, just to take a look, there was such a good feeling about the place. That feeling is gone now because of COVID and some other factors as well. But it just felt really good. It just, I just listened to my gut instincts, which you should also do, and it felt right for me. So that's how I ended up in Hat Yai. What I said about gut instincts is very important, and there are some decisions in life that you just have to make yourself, because you're an individual, you're very different to other people. I can't quite understand why people sort of ask on the internet forums about where they should live and what they should do and how much money they need, because these answers are different for everyone, and you just need to think about your own personal situation. Other things that are important to me are balance and variety. So if I want to get out into the Thai countryside for some peace and solitude, I can do that by jumping on the wife's bike. I can get out to some really nice countryside in about 15 minutes. If I want to eat Western food or buy something that's only for sale in a big department store, I can drive into town in 15 minutes and buy it. So it's really the best of both worlds. Beaches, the nearest beach to here is Songkhla, and since they improved the road, there's no longer a big wait at the Your Island intersection. I can get to Songkhla beach in about 30 minutes. It's not particularly great. The beaches aren't great on the Gulf Coast. The nearest beach on the Andaman coast is Saturn. I can get there in about an hour and a half, or I can drive to Krabi in 5 hours. So I've got lots of choice, and that's something I really think is important. And then since I started a family, other things become important, such as schools and hospitals. And again, there are lots of those in this area. And I've been to some beautiful parts of Thailand, islands and beaches. There's just none of the things that I need to live a real life, although they are really picturesque and beautiful. There's a saying that I've used in life for a long time, is that you can have anything, but you can't have everything. So every decision that you make in life is a compromise. You know, I can't live in the most spectacularly beautiful area of Thailand and have access to good schools, good shopping, good hospitals. You just can't do it. So you have to decide what is more important to you, and then you have to compromise. The subject of where to live in Thailand can actually be a very sensitive one, as I've discovered over the years. There's a lot of expats in Thailand who get very defensive about where they live, and they incorporate where they live into their online identity, you know. So we get Bangkok Bob and Pattaya Pete and Chiang Rai Charlie. I would never be as arrogant to tell people where they should live. You know, you just live where you want to, where suits you best. All I've tried to do is just describe a few of my thought processes and try to explain why I ended up where I did. And there's something else I should mention, is that not all people can decide where they live in Thailand. You know, if you get a job offer in Thailand, then you have to live wherever the job is. You can't teach at a school in Bangkok and live on Samui Island. And there's something else that's affected me, and that's if you get involved with a Thai national. My wife is Thai. The girls will often want to stay close to their families. They have very close family connections. So that's another reason for me being here, because my wife's family are here. And also some men that get married to Thai women and wish to build a house, the girl's family may have some land that they give their daughter for the purpose of building a house. So of course, you know, your house is going to be wherever that land is. So not all people can choose. There are some fairly heavy influences at play that will dictate where you end up in Thailand. It's now raining, but it's actually quite a nice respite from the heat because it's been very, very hot recently. Sorry about the poor audio quality in this video. I hate speaking with these masks on, but in Thailand you don't go outside without a mask, otherwise you're getting all sorts of problems. If you have any comments, questions or other feedback, please leave them below, and more videos soon. Thank you for watching.